Okay, guys, good morning. Very good morning, guys. It's 7:46 a.m. Sunday, 14th of June, and just finished all my habits, guys. Waking up at 5, reflecting and typing positive things, studying the Bible. I did like 5 kilometers of jogging, and now I'm here, guys, making a video that I hoped would not be here for a very long time. Because, guys, I have 2 dogs, Jackie and Joe. Jackie's 13 and a half years old. Joe, 15 and a half years old. And he passed away the 12th in the evening. And I need to talk about it. Because people have dogs, but Joe was my child. How crazy it sounds for some people, but Joe was truly my child. He was with me day and night for 15.5 years. I made a video about this. My dogs, that they're not, I did not choose them. Our ego, the world makes us believe that we choose dogs, but the dogs chose me. Joe, Jackie, they saved my life. They guided me through my life. They became my best friends, my children, and now, guys, he's gone. Joe is gone. Joe is gone. And I need to talk about this because, went really fast. He got fluid in his stomach, and it went really fast. And I went to the hospital, to the doctor, the animal doctor, the vet, 3 times in 2 days. The evening, and then the next day we did blood work. Everything was perfect. But it was losing, protein in his stomach, and they gave him a shot, 2 or 3 shots of that, to take away the fluid, pee tablets, so you pee every fluid out of your body. But I already saw after 3 hours it did not work, and the next day they gave another heavy one. It did not work, and I did a Zoom call with my brother Daniel, and the 12th, and around 7:30, we stopped the call. And in the call, I even said, "Look, Daniel, look at his his stomach." Then they stopped the call, and I was like, I told my family, Linda and Keen, I was like, "This can be the last few days that we have Joe." And they're like, "What? Like what?" I'm like, "I don't know." And I started, hugging him, and I felt his heartbeat. And afterwards, we found out that his heartbeat was 256 for the last 3-4 days, guys. And it was just laying down. It was like 2 times the max. His stomach was like almost 3-4 kilo of fluid, and and nothing was working. The doctors, everything was good, the blood work, but they believed it was cancer. I don't believe that, because I truly believe that the vets, they don't know, guys. They do something. Every time I went to the vet with my dog, it's like sometimes I even said, "No, don't give that medication. Don't do that. I'll do something myself. Because and it always worked." So, not to talk or judge about vets, but it's a difficult job, and I believe they just do something, and they have medication of the system. But anyways, guys, I went on the ground, and my dog was like, I felt it. I felt I have a soul connection with the dog. Joe. I had that soul connection, and I got his head, and I asked him, "Do you want me to let you go?" And guys, he nodded, but I was like, "Do you want me to let you go?" And I felt it, he said, "Let me go." And that was a day that I could not believe that will ever come, guys. From his 9, 10 years old, I was already walking them both. Jackie's 13 and a half, and I was already sometimes crying, like crazy. I need to let you go someday, but I cannot make that decision. Like, how can I make the decision about your life? So I made so many stories that I could never do that. And again, what I'm saying right now is that I made so many stories that felt realistic, but were all fake. Because at the moment that I felt that Joe told me that I needed to let him go, I called the doctor. It was Friday evening, so it was an emergency doctor. Like, but I pressed it away. I'm like, what am I doing? Where's Joe? I need to hug him. And then, something inside me gave me power. And I called again, and I explained the situation. And she said, it's the best thing to let him go. So we went, and on the way to the vet, I felt peace. Joe was in the back seat with Kian. I felt peace, guys. Then when the vet, I said, check him out. I don't want to make the wrong decision. She's like, do you want me to check him? Like, yes, you're gonna check him out. Like she felt that was wrong, crazy question. But I went to the vet 5 years ago, to put him down, and and in the moment that we wanted to put him down, he like came back to life. Like, so again, I said, I want you to check him out. So she checked him out. She's like, his heartbeat was 256. He was laying down. He was like he was like it was finished. His stomach was like pregnant. So we put him down, and I always thought, when I put my dog to sleep, I cannot be there, or I'm not strong enough. I cannot see it, but I got his head, and I told him, I love you. The moment they let him sleep, and I told him, I love you. I love you. Thank you for everything. I love you. I love you. And then he was asleep, and then they put the medication to kill him, to put him to sleep, to kill him. Yeah, it sounds crazy. But at that moment, I looked him in the eyes. I love you. Thank you. Tell Jesus that I'm going to join you in heaven. Tell Jesus I'm going to put in more work. I'm going to see you in heaven one day. And I let him go. And for some people, maybe it's a dog. Just a dog. But for me, it was not just a dog. That was my best friend. He saved my life so many times. But the crazy thing, I made a video, guys, that, a video. I was talking about, the dogs are still with me. They're my guides. As long as they're with me, I still need them. I still needed them. But I found out, it was his path. This is my path, And the crazy thing is, tomorrow I have my baptize. I'm going to be baptized tomorrow. And just before my baptize, Joe dies in my arms. And yeah, it was the path, guys. People, a lot of people don't understand, and I don't care. Nobody has to understand. The power I felt of making that decision, the peace I felt of going to the vet, the peace I felt when he was on the back seat dead on the way back. And I always told myself I could not do that. I would get crazy, and I felt so peace, guys. And again, we come back to the things I say. When you make the right decisions in life, and the right decisions are not the decisions that your ego wants, but once you make the right decisions in life, you feel peace. Even with this, putting my dog to sleep, letting him go was the right decision. So, my soul told me it was the right decision. The Holy Spirit told me it was the right decision. So I found the peace of making a decision that my ego did not want to make. So I made that decision, and on the way to the vet and on the way back, I had peace. Yesterday, it was at home before we brought him to the crematorium. He was at home, guys, and, I had peace. But, we dropped him off in 18 hours, guys. I let him go in the evening, and 18 hours later, he was already gone. Like how fast the body, dissolves, guys. It was already getting blood out of his nose. Like, he was letting go of his poo. And he was laying there, guys. And the other dog needed to say goodbye because he has been with him for 13.5 years. He's never been alone. Kian, Linda, me, very sad. But after 18 hours, it was so fast, we brought him away. He's gone. In 18 hours, I did not know I was going to let go of my dog. And in 18 hours, he's gone and gone out of the house. It's insane how fast it went. Maybe I should have, let him stay home longer. But it happened so fast, guys. We come in a mode that you get in a power mode. But, the thing is, guys, Joe did his work. God put him in my life for a reason, He did his work. He died in my arm, in my hands, looking at me, telling him that I'm so grateful for every single moment I had with him, that I love him. And tomorrow I'm going to get baptized. My neighbor's going to be baptized me, and he even said, like, Mike, you want to do it a different day? I'm like, no. I told Joe the day he died, I didn't know he was going to die, guys. And I told him, tell Jesus, if you go to heaven, before me, tell Jesus, I will join you guys in heaven. I will put in more work. And now I have more energy, more drive to, put in more work, to see my dog. My dog, it's not, I can't even call it a dog, my soulmate, my child, the dog, my guide, my angel in heaven again. So this pain that I feel, the emptiness that I feel, I put it in power, I put in energy. And again, everything that I teach and preach, guys, comes back in the situations that I live. My habits, I get in power, guys. Yesterday I didn't train, I told myself yesterday I can sleep out till 7, because, I was home. We were going to bed at 1, and I told myself once I can sleep out till 7. But guys, I woke up at 5 in stress. I was like, what? My dog, I already woke up on myself. I did not train. I did not count my macros because I undereat. But yesterday, guys, I brought my dog away. But today, I knew what I teach and preach works. So I woke up at 5. I got my laptop. I went on the ground with the other dog, Jackie. I typed reflect. I got the Bible. I started reading the Bible. I got energy from it, And then I got in my mind, and I was like, I was reading, but Joe was on my mind. I was like, get up, start running. So I was jogging, walking, and now I'm here making these videos, guys. And I want to explain that you can do everything through Christ that strengthens you, but you need to get close to Christ. You need to get close to Christ by the habits, by faith, by reading the Bible, by the lifestyle that I teach and preach, guys. I am already, with this big loss, not missing. I'm not missing. Everything I teach, I preach, I show it works, guys. The pain I have from Joe, and of course I'm emotional, I feel it. But like I said, I can cry in the morning walk. I can cry and feel emotions when I read the Bible. I can cry and, type positive things about Joe in the reflection. I can, use that pain, and feel emotions in the gym. I need to use the pain that I feel of missing Joe and putting that in the habits in my lifestyle, so I can get closer to Jesus, so I can, be stronger, that I can really, go to heaven, that I do the baptize tomorrow, because I could have said, no, I feel sad, I'm not going to baptize. But I told Jesus, and I told my dog, and I told myself and my family, whatever happens, I'm going to baptize. The enemy can attack me. It can take away my dog. It can attack everything, but I'm going to get baptized tomorrow. I am going to get closer to Jesus tomorrow. Doesn't matter what happens. I am going to get baptized tomorrow. And the great thing is, tomorrow is also the day that Joe is going to be cremated. He's in the refrigerator. My mind can tell me, go see him today, But, it's the body, and it's not looking better every day. It's cold. It's dead. You see, what I also saw when, Joe's soul went away in my hands, And the day after that, what I saw was that the ego, guys. Kill the ego. You don't need the ego. I saw again how everything I say is so true. When you have ego, when the soul goes away, what did it matter? What does the ego matter? What does it matter how you look, how you feel? Of course, you need to be in shape. You need to be ripped because, you need to be healthy. You need to be in high frequency. But it doesn't matter how you look, how my teeth are, how people see me, how the camera, how people see me on the camera, the fear, it doesn't matter. And again, I saw, everything I say and I teach and preach, I saw Joe's soul left. What did the ego matter, guys? You know, how many videos I made that he was like snoring and like, oh, it was warm. I was like breathing, and I was like my ego was like getting irritated when I was making a video like this because, you know, we heard that on the video. And now I'm like, and already after that video, like, Mike, why does my ego give me this feeling? And one day he's not gonna be here anymore. And you're like, but the ego, guys, it's the devil. The ego is used by the devil. You need to understand this, guys. It's used by the devil to control you, to let you, you know, live on feelings. And again, everything that I preach, everything that I do, you know, came back in this 2 days of letting go of my dog. That I'm one, very strong. 2, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. 3, we are a soul. And dogs go to heaven, guys. You know, if you want to see your dogs, if you want to see your pets, everything that has a soul will go to heaven. You know, understand that when you walk the path of Jesus Christ, the Bible, you know, that's the only way. Jesus is the truth, the way, and life. If you miss your animals, your pets, but you want to see them, guys, put in the work, you know, follow Jesus, stop sinning, you know, live this lifestyle, you know, follow my wisdom, do my coaching if you really want to grow fast, you know. But understand that, you know, you can see their souls in a life eternal that you cannot imagine, much better than this life. You know, we cannot imagine because our ego wants to see and feel it first because we cannot see it. So it wants to feel and, you know for sure that's, no, guys, I'm telling you, it's true. You know, you can see your pets. So for me, this gives so much more fuel. You know, my dog is already there. I gave him what I could, you know. I'm not going to be like, I needed to walk more. Could I have walked, have done things better? Yes, but I did not. I did what I could. You know, afterwards you can think like, oh, I could have done this. No, but I did what I could. And I gave him my love. I gave him my soul. And he guided me. He was my angel. Now we have the other dog, 13 and a half years old, Jackie. Gotta give him so much love, you know, because he's mourning. Crazy, guys, how you see how the nature works, you know. He needed to say goodbye to him, you know, and now he's not want to eat. I got bought him like a big bone, like a big one, you know, but he doesn't want it, you know. He's the one that never said no to a bone. Like, he was crying yesterday. He's walking around. You know, it's sad, but we're gonna, as a family, gonna give him so much love because his mission is not over yet, you know. He's gonna be here until, you know, I don't need him anymore. My family does not need him anymore. You know, that's the way it works, guys. They're here to guide you. And this is a video that I needed to make for myself. But the things I make for myself is showing you guys as well that everything I teach and preach, you know, the power I got, you know, from this lifestyle by killing the fear, by waking up before 5, by training every day, by counting my macros, you know, 0 drugs, 0 alcohol, 0 medications. You know, the power I have, you know, that is insane. You know, that the people that knew me from before, like, that I, you know, made a decision, like, boom, we're gonna let him down. He talked to me, you know. My dog talked to me. It was a soul connection. He talked to me. Mike, I'm finished. You know, you did what you can do. That I did that. Even Linda was like crazy. Now I'm ready, you know, day 2, like locking in, guys, not missing, making this video because I want to show you guys, you know, I am, how said it, morning, like I feel it, you know. But the thing is, I cannot, if I go, I can feel it, I can cry, I need to let it go because if I get in my mind and stories, you know, it's the same with everything. Again, you know, guys, this video is massive because it's with every situation. If you get in your mind with stories, you know, the devil took over. Like, if I get in my mind, if I watch too much photos and videos of Joe, you know, I get in my mind and the devil has me. You know, I'm out of my power. And like, when I'm out of my power, it doesn't, you know, change the situation. And you know, when I'm out of power, it's exactly what the devil wants. And I cannot let the devil win. So you can feel emotions. But when I really feel emotions and I get in my mind, like yesterday, like 2 or 3 times, I tell Linda, like, I cry, like, Linda, I'm going to walk. You know, just leave me. You know, Kian said, I want to go. I'm like, Kian, you know, I'm sorry, but I need to be myself. I walk. I walk. Guys, walk. When you start getting in your mind, walk. Walk, guys. Walking is so important. Crazy, guys. I'm leading, guys. I'm leading. Also with this situation, you know, it was my child, guys. You know, it's insane. But we will meet one day. And what I believe, guys, you know, I'm here to save my soul. You know, I'm here to help God save souls. And I believe every soul that I help save with God, I'm going to see in God's new kingdom. We're going to meet. That's how I see it. You know? If I can help God save the souls of my family will go with me, or I will go first. Like, it doesn't, we'll see each other. And we will be in love. Live in love. You know? In God's new kingdom. Okay, guys. Needed to share the story. Guys, you can get close to me in my Telegram community. I'm putting a link underneath it. If you want coaching, if you want to get empowered, guys, you know, trust me, you know, you will get empowered. You know, I see it with Daniel. He's in my VIP coaching for 40 months. It's insane. You know, if you have faith in me, I have faith in you. That's what a connection is. You know, when you have a soul connection, you have faith in each other. Like, I had faith in Joe. Joe had faith in me. You know, that's why it was that crazy connection. And that's in life as well. When Linda has faith in me, I have faith in her, then we're sky is the limit. But if Linda doesn't have faith in me and I don't have faith in her, or one of us don't have faith, like, it's blocking the connection, guys. Understand, by having faith in each other, that is connected to everything. And you can have this with a dog. If the dog doesn't have faith in you, you don't have that connection. So, having faith in each other is the most important thing. We have faith in me, I have faith in you. You know, in my coaching, you know, you will grow insane. We also have a church call today at 7. We're going to do it at 7 today, Dutch time. You know, at Sunday, normally at 6, today 7. Daniel is going to land in Miami. He's going to do it from Miami, crazy Miami. My spiritual brother. So guys, thank you for watching. God bless. And truly, enjoy life. Be grateful. Because I am grateful for every day and every moment that I had with Joe. Every second, every moment, guys. You know, I can, you know, think the devil. You know, that, you know, oh, what, he could still be here. But I can also, like, if I reflect on it, be grateful for every moment that I had. And that I gave him the kisses and love and hugs. And that's how you need to live life. You need to be grateful that you had a chance to have that. You need to be grateful that you had a chance to be with your dad and mom. You know, my dad passed away when he was 45. I was 22. You know, I had to be grateful that I had a chance, that I had a father until then. You know, you need to be grateful for everything that you have and that you don't have in life. That's the key. Guys, have a wonderful day and God bless.